Airbus was never supposed to win, a Frankenstein creation of European desperation, arriving decades late to the game. And yet, somehow, they've overtaken Boeing, America's aviation titan. But how did this happen? Was it genius strategy, Boeing's catastrophic blunders, or something far more calculated? And the real question no one's asking, is Airbus actually safe at the top, or are the cracks already forming? This isn't just a story about planes. It's a battle of empires, innovation, and one mistake that cost billions. When Airbus first showed up in the late 1960s, nobody took them seriously. Boeing had just launched the iconic 737 and the massive 747, the world's first wide-body jet, and was dominating the global market. Meanwhile, Airbus was just a messy merger of struggling European manufacturers, barely scraping by with a single twin-engine plane called the A300. And back then, airlines didn't even want twin-engine wide-bodies. Everyone believed more engines meant more safety, so Airbus's pitch, fewer engines, lower costs, sounded like a gamble, not a revolution. By the 1970s, the A300 was limping along with 1 or 2 deliveries a month. In the US, Airbus was practically invisible. American carriers stuck with the tried and true Boeings. Airbus, just some foreign experiment. But while Boeing was getting comfortable at the top, Airbus was quietly setting the stage for something that would change aviation forever. And what they introduced next would shake the entire industry. In 1984, Airbus made a move that would change everything. They launched the A320. It wasn't just another plane, it was a technological leap. While Boeing was still relying on traditional yokes and manual cable systems, Airbus rolled out fly-by-wire controls, replacing physical linkages with digital signals. And instead of a bulky yoke, pilots used a sleek side stick, more like something out of a fighter jet. At the time, people were skeptical, even afraid. Fly-by-wire was military tech, untested in commercial airliners. That fear wasn't unfounded. The A320's debut flight at an airshow ended in disaster, crashing in front of a crowd. Other incidents followed, fatal ones. Public trust in the new Airbus design was shaken, but beneath the controversy was a plane ahead of its time. The A320 was lighter, more fuel efficient, and had a wider cabin than Boeing's 737, meaning airlines could squeeze in more comfort, or more seats. Slowly the numbers started shifting. European airlines took notice, then Asia, and finally, the US cracked open. And as Airbus gained ground, Boeing didn't flinch. They still owned the skies, but they didn't realize the storm was already forming. For decades, Boeing held the crown. Even as Airbus gained ground, Boeing had the edge in profitability, and they knew it. The strategy was simple. Keep 50% of the market, but do it with higher margins. Airbus might sell more planes, but Boeing made more money. That gamble worked until it didn't. In 2017, Boeing launched the 737 MAX, a re-engined version of their aging bestseller. It was a response to Airbus's fuel-efficient A320 Neo. But there was a problem. To save time and costs, Boeing skipped a clean-sheet design. Instead, they bolted new engines onto an old frame and introduced a software patch called MCAS to keep the plane stable. That decision would turn deadly. In 2018, and again in 2019, 2 737 MAX 8s crashed. A total of 346 people lost their lives. Investigations revealed that MCAS had malfunctioned, forcing the nose of the plane down with little warning, and pilots hadn't even been properly trained on the system. The fallout was brutal. The MAX was grounded worldwide for nearly 2 years. Boeing's reputation shattered. Orders were cancelled, deliveries halted, and the financial losses, over $12 billion in 2020 alone. But here's the twist. Airbus didn't just benefit from Boeing's failure. They were already ahead. The A321 Neo, longer range, more seats, better fuel burn, was crushing it. The MAX crisis didn't tip the scales. It just made the fall faster. And Airbus, they were just getting started. By the time Boeing's MAX 8 was grounded, Airbus had already positioned its killer move, the A321 Neo. This wasn't just another narrow-body jet. It was a game changer. With the range to fly cross-country or even transatlantic, and the capacity to carry up to 244 passengers, it offered airlines flexibility they'd never had in a single-aisle plane. Meanwhile, Boeing's response: the MAX 9 and MAX 10, but neither could match the A321 Neo in range. And worse, the MAX 10 still isn't certified, so when airlines needed to replace aging fleets and cut fuel costs fast, the choice became obvious. Orders for the A321 Neo exploded. In just 1 year, 1,300 units were sold. Even long-time Boeing loyalists like American Airlines and Delta started leaning Airbus. And here's the number that says it all: 72% of Airbus's single-aisle backlog is now the A321. This one jet has become the backbone of modern fleets, and Boeing doesn't have an answer. But Airbus didn't just win with the plane. They won with where they built it. While Boeing kept final assembly tightly focused in the US, Airbus went global. They built a massive facility in Mobile, Alabama, right in Boeing's backyard, then another in China, and others across Europe. It wasn't just about efficiency, it was a power play. By building jets closer to their buyers, Airbus gained political points, regional trust, and faster delivery timelines. China, once a Boeing stronghold, started tilting toward Airbus, helped by the fact that Airbus was actually building planes inside China. In the US, Airbus went from a forgotten foreign player to having over 40 locations with helicopters, satellites, and now multiple aircraft production lines. Their strategy wasn't just about planes, it was about presence. And while Boeing was caught fixing problems, Airbus was already thinking 5 moves ahead. But Airbus didn't always get it right. And one massive mistake nearly set them back a decade. In the early 2000s, Airbus made a bold bet. While the world was shifting toward fuel-efficient twin-engine jets, they doubled down on size and launched the A380, the world's largest passenger plane. It was a technical marvel. Double-decker, 4 engines, over 800 seats in some configurations. But there was one big problem. Airlines didn't want it. Airports couldn't support it. Routes didn't justify it. And just as the A380 entered service, fuel prices spiked, and demand for smaller, longer-range jets took over. The A380 became iconic, but also impractical. Production ended in 2021. And the worst part? While Airbus was perfecting their Super Jumbo, Boeing was refining the 787 Dreamliner, a fuel-efficient wide-body that would dominate long-haul routes. Airbus lost years and billions, chasing a market that didn't exist. But thanks to the A321 Neo, they didn't just recover, they surged ahead. And Boeing, they were falling further behind. Right now, Airbus owns the mid-market. They've out-delivered Boeing every year since 2019. Their backlog is deeper. Their jets are more efficient. And Boeing's once unshakable dominance has become a cautionary tale of overconfidence and missed signals. But if history teaches us anything, it's this: no leader stays at the top forever. New technologies, new markets, and new players are coming. Boeing could bounce back. Embraer could disrupt. China could force its way in. Airbus might be winning now, but in aviation, every empire eventually faces turbulence. And the question isn't whether someone will challenge Airbus, it's when.